My Strange Addiction sends my nostalgia through the roof. Running from 2010 to 2015, they interviewed dozens of crazy individuals from around the world. From people who eat sand to people who are addicted to plastic surgery, My Strange Addiction has celebrated these people and inspired so much media, this channel included, in its wake. There were many times where me and my buddies would sit back, crack open a cold one, and watch these episodes. It's an extremely iconic series that I'm sure many of you remember well. So when I heard that they were doing a reboot, and even visiting some of the previous video subjects, words cannot describe to you how excited I was. And out of all the insanity that was covered on this show, there was one story in particular that really stuck with me. A man named Nathaniel, and his car, Chase. Today we are going to look at both the 10-year-old episode that introduced us to Nathaniel and also the update episode that just recently came out a few months ago. It's a story of love, loss, and isolation. Today we are going to attempt to dive into the mind of an objectophile. The National Institute of Health describes objectophilia as a person who is romantically or sexually involved with a specific object. They often develop deep and enduring emotional, romantic relations with a specific inanimate object, including, but not limited to, trains, bridges, cars, and other works. In Nathaniel's case, it involved a strong attraction to cars. He first began to notice these kinds of feelings in himself when he would assemble model cars as a child, but also claims that things didn't really kick it off until he met his first love, Chase, a 1998 Chevrolet Monte Carlo that he met at a resale lot 15 years ago. As most objectophiles do, Nathaniel assigned Chase a gender, so Nathaniel refers to Chase as a male. When asked how he attributes gender to a car, he said it was the general appearance of them, saying some cars were naturally more feminine, as where others were more masculine. But giving his car a name and gender wasn't the only thing that Nathaniel was doing to them, because as I'm sure many of you know, this relationship was very intimate, us even being able to witness many of these things in the first episode of the TLC documentary. Nathaniel would go on to display a number of ways in which he and Chase got romantically involved, and this is where we get into one of the most interesting aspects of Nathaniel's condition to me: the assignment of body parts to inanimate objects. He would go on to explain that the car had body parts, like legs, eyes, ears, a face, even lips, which he had attributed to the crease in the hood of his car. Though Chase is now gone, which don't worry, we'll get into here in a little bit, Nathaniel still owns the hood of his car to this day. He would also show us one of the favorite positions that him and his car had, wiggling himself almost completely underneath, with his head popped out by the front bumper, giving it kisses. I want to make it very clear right now, I might throw around a couple of jokes, but I actually think Nathaniel's pretty cool. The amount of bravery it would take to come out about all these things to the world and still be a upstanding, productive member of society. Nathaniel has hurt nobody with his actions, and just how much love he has for this car is beautiful in its own strange way. You see, Nathaniel isn't a college frat boy when it comes to vehicles. When he hooks up with the car, he wants it to be for a long-term, meaningful, romantic relationship. You cannot tell me that in this man's mind, he is not experiencing true love. He'll take his car on dates, he'll buy it special gas, he will spend thousands in maintenance for them. If you doubted for a second that he is not actually romantically involved with his car, look no further than him revealing it to his father on national TV. I don't know whose idea this was during episode 1. To be honest, they did Nathaniel no favors, especially with their soundtrack, and if Nathaniel's dad wasn't so chill with it, It could have gone so much worse. Let me just pose a scenario to you guys. Your son calls you and tells you he's got to get something off his chest. You go to his place, and as usual, he's out front washing his car. You come right up, lean on it a little bit, and be like, "Hey son, what's the matter?" And he proceeds to tell you that he is romantically involved with his car, Chase. Not wanting to offend him, you don't immediately remove your hand from the hood, but slowly back off over the course of a few minutes, as he is describing exactly how he and his car are intimate. As someone who's about to be a father, this is absolute nightmare scenario stuff. But Nathaniel's dad didn't get angry, he wasn't disgusted, in fact he didn't even react poorly at all. He simply asked if his son was happy and if he was maybe alright with seeing a therapist. He also asked if the divorce had anything to do with all of this. I'm not even joking. Seeing this positive exchange between father and son was kind of heartwarming. It went so well, in fact, that Nathaniel would even agree to do therapy, stating that he would do it as long as they wouldn't try to change who he was. He merely wanted to find out a name for his condition and possibly the root for it. The therapist would explain to us and Nathaniel that this condition could possibly be a defense mechanism, saying that objectophiles often struggle with human relationships, also saying that as time goes on, they will continue to get more and more isolated, both due to their love of objects and also the extreme social stigma behind being the way that they are. When we left Nathaniel in the first video, he had no intentions of breaking it off with Chase, and he also claimed that he would continue to seek therapy. For the longest time, I really thought this would be the last we'd ever see of him, but patience is always rewarded, my friends. 10 years later, they return, but not just with new subjects. They were also checking up on old ones, and when I saw Nathaniel's face in the trailer, I literally jumped for joy. I had wondered for so long what had happened to him. If he had been ridiculed after the episode had aired, where was Chase? And just exactly what was Nathaniel up to? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the second episode featuring him would not disappoint. In my opinion, it's far superior to the first one, starting off with what I consider to be one of the saddest moments in modern television history. Nathaniel, now 10 years older and 10 years wiser, had a new look, was living in a new state, and had a completely different life from when he was last covered. And it all began with a tragedy. 4 years ago, while Chase was undergoing routine maintenance, he was totaled in a shop accident. If I'm being completely honest, when I look at Chase, he doesn't look very totaled to me, just has some broken glass and some dents. This would not stop Nathaniel from declaring him dead. And the way I'm talking makes it seem like it was no big deal to Nathaniel. He was, and still very much is, absolutely devastated, breaking down in tears, describing the ordeal to the camera, and even somewhat blaming himself for not getting Chase repaired. This story would be told from Chase's memorial room in Nathaniel's house. If you didn't believe that Nathaniel had attributed full human characteristics to these cars, look no further than the memorial room. He has a blanket with all of his favorite photos of him and Chase on it. He has photos hanging up on the wall. And in the spirit of Ed Gein, he even has the hood of the car still with him. As I've talked about before, Nathaniel has a favorite crease on that hood that he likes to make out with. All joking aside, I am sure he has spent many nights weeping onto that car hood, thinking of what could have been if he hadn't pulled the plug on Chase. I sympathize with Nathaniel here, because in my opinion, I think the hardest part of life is losing someone you love and continuing it without them. But it is also a testament to the human spirit that we endure and continue to push forward in their memory. And Nathaniel would do just that, by filling the void Chase left in his heart with a veritable harem of vehicles. Nathaniel is now romantically and intimately involved with 4 vehicles. Some of them don't even have wheels, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with the new love of Nathaniel's life, Lex. Now, I'm not a car guy, but I'm assuming Lex is a Lexus, a female Lexus, which I find particularly interesting, because Lex is the only female vehicle that Nathaniel has been involved with, to my knowledge. The 3 others I will mention shortly are all identified as male. When asked what he liked about Lex, Nathaniel would tell us that he liked the smoothness of her driving and the cushion of her seats. He mentions seats quite often in regards to these vehicles. Take what you will from that. He would also go on to describe how he met Lex. After the tragedy that was Chase's death, Nathaniel was lost in this world. That is, until one day he spotted the most beautiful Lexus across the street for sale. Considering that this Lexus had a few too many miles on her and was a little beat up, Nathaniel decided that he would take his shopping for a new spouse to the internet, where he would find Lex and instantly fall in love. Though Nathaniel is involved with his other cars, he claims that his heart belongs to Lex, with her getting special treatments, even the weekends being reserved for their time together. This car was also made in 2003, so don't worry, he ain't no sicko. Nathaniel claims that he likes Lex for her personality, cute cheeks, and beautiful eyes. Despite all the love that Lex gives him, she still can't fill the hole left by Chase alone. As the episode moved forward, Nathaniel began to introduce us to more and more cars that he was intimately involved with. After meeting Lex, we would get the pleasure of meeting Jordan, a sedan. Nathaniel would walk around the car, gently stroking it, explaining his relationship with it to the camera, saying that though his heart belonged to Lex, him and Jordan had a friends with benefits kind of relationship. Apparently this does not bother Lex because Jordan is a gentleman. Basically the Jason Love of luxury sedans. After introducing us to Jordan, he would move on to the next car, Jet, a manly SUV. Though Jet lacked the gentlemanly qualities that Jordan did, Nathaniel didn't mind. To him, it was all about the variety. Because these days, he wasn't just into cars, he was also into jet skis. The final member of his vehicular harem would be a jet ski called Adam. Only Adam doesn't like being called a jet ski, he likes being called a personal watercraft. I find it extremely ironic that he has a jet ski named Adam and an SUV named Jet, especially since he uses Jet to pull Adam to the lake. Though Nathaniel didn't go too deep into Adam's personality, it was clear that he was the bad boy of the group. He said that he liked Adam in particular because of how you could wrap your legs around a jet ski. He would then go on to talk about the quality of the seats that he had just had redone, further confirming my theory that the seat cushions are mainly what he's into. He spoke of Adam with a tinge of sorrow, stating that he felt bad Adam had remained in the driveway for so long, and that he should really take him out again soon. Not a bad way to end, but I find myself wondering, will this truly be the last time that we see him? 'Cause if it is, I would really have loved to see him ride off into the sunset on his jet ski. Today, Nathaniel is still involved with all of his vehicles, with his main squeeze being Lex. They seem to be very in love. He'll buy her ethanol-free gas, his version of a bouquet of flowers, and he also claims that he does not get jealous when mechanics work on her, as long as they are respectful. If I'm being completely honest, I couldn't have asked for a better update on Nathaniel. Sure, it would have been nice if he would have been able to develop some meaningful relationships with human beings, but the man is happy, and he's not hurting anyone. He has the bravery to get in front of the nation, hell, the world, and proudly proclaim that he's in love with his cars. Nathan is one of these people you see on TV that you never truly forget. Sure, there have been other documented objectophiles, like the roller coaster girl, or the fence woman, but none of them managed to capture the attention that Nathaniel did. And I'm very thankful that we got another look at him 10 years later. I think it's going to do wonders for the understanding of objectophilia, and most definitely confirms some of the consequences of it. The therapist stated 10 years ago that this condition would make it nearly impossible to develop new meaningful relationships with human beings, and that in a way, the objects were meant to keep people away from you as a defense mechanism. Unlike the first episode, not a single human besides Nathaniel was featured in the second. In the first episode, there was Nathaniel's father and his roommate, but now there is nobody, just his vehicles and him. I think Nathaniel's story could be groundbreaking for discovering the cause of this condition, and if not, it already has been for the consequences. And that's all I have on Nathaniel from TLC today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said before, My Strange Addictions is a big inspiration behind this channel, and getting to finally make a video over this topic has been a pleasure. It means the absolute world to me that you watched this video till the end. That really helps pushing it in the algorithm, gets it to so many more people. I also want to give a very special thank you to all my channel members. Words cannot describe how thankful I am for all of the support. It is never lost on me, nor will it. And to you watching this video right now, hearing my voice, I hope you have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever in the world you are, just go have a good time. And be sure to keep it Kiwi.